This video is going to focus specifically on dividing fractions and mixed numbers. So we're going to go ahead and continue on that note sheet that you've been filling out for multiplying. That sheet right here, except we are going to stay now on this right side over here. So we're going to look at the top right-hand corner first, and we're going to fill out our notes. So again, this is very similar to when we were multiplying fractions. The first thing we got to remember is we do not get common denominators. And that's, again, a very common thread you'll see throughout. You don't want to get common denominators when you're multiplying or dividing fractions. Now, the next step is that three-word phrase we like to remember: keep, change, flip. So that's going to be that phrase you got to remember when you're dividing our fractions or our mixed numbers. You want to keep the first fraction the same, change that division sign into multiplication, and then flip your second fraction. And that flipped fraction is actually called the reciprocal. So a nice vocabulary term there. Then we're going to end up multiplying. So we start following the rules for multiplying fractions. So again, we want to look to see if we can cross cancel, if that is possible. Then we want to multiply the numerator by the numerator and multiply denominator by denominator. And then again, lastly, we want to simplify if that's possible. So once we've done that keep, change, flip step, everything follows the same rules and steps as multiplying our fractions here. So why don't we go ahead and do our example problem. Again, remember there will be another example problem we will do here. So if you could keep some room on your note sheet, that would be great. So here we want to do keep, change, flip as our first step. So 3/8, we keep the same. We change that that division sign into a multiplication sign, and then we flip that second fraction. So that's going to become 12/9. Once we've done our keep, change, flip, we look to see if we can cross cancel. So our 12 and our 8, they have a common factor of 4. So 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. I'm going to look at my other set of diagonals, 3 and 9. They all also have a common factor. This time it is 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Then we want to multiply numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. So 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Here we can actually simplify that a little further. 3/6, if we divide both numerator and denominator by 3, you get 1/2. So your answer here is 1/2. So we actually did some cross canceling here, but because that 12/9, when we simplified that down, we got 3/3, which is like multiplying by 1. So we ended up having to do a little bit of simplifying after we did our cross canceling and multiplying. So that is a possibility. Remember, again, I said in the last video, but I will say it again, you don't always have to be able to divide or cross cancel with both sets of your diagonal numbers. Sometimes it's only one. And I think in the last video, we also saw an example where you couldn't cross cancel at all. So keep that in mind while we're going through. Our second example here says divide the following fractions. We've got 4/9 divided by 1/6. So again, our first step is going to be doing that keep, change, flip. So 4/9 stays 4/9. That division sign becomes multiplication, and the fraction 1/6 becomes 6/1. So now we look at cross cancel, and here we can only cross cancel one set of diagonals, 9 and 6. They have a common factor of 3. So 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. And now we are going to multiply straight across. So we have 4 times 2, which gives us 8. 3 times 1, which gives us 3. So this is an improper fraction. We want to turn that into a mixed number. That's going to be that simplifying piece here. So 3 can go into 8 a total of 2 times with 2 left over, and our denominator stays the same. So our final answer here is 2 2/3. So we're going to go ahead on to the very last section on our note sheet, the bottom right-hand corner, and this is dividing with mixed numbers. So just like every other section on this note sheet, we do not get common denominators. We don't want to get a common denominator here. We then change our mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then we do keep, change, flip, and we are ready to multiply. So again, now that we've gotten to this step, we want to look to see if we can cross cancel, if that is possible. Follow the steps for multiplication. So we want to see if we can, once we've cross canceled, we multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. And then lastly, we want to simplify if that is possible. So simplifying also brings in changing our improper fractions into mixed numbers. So here, what we're going to do first is change these into improper fractions using our C method. So 3 times 4 gives me 12, plus 2 is 14, so 14 over 3. I'm going to keep that division the same here. I want to change these into improper fractions first before we do the keep, change, flip. So here I'm going to change 2 and 4/9 into an improper fraction as well. So 9 times 2 gives us 18, plus 4 is 22. So here now we're doing the exact same thing here, 14/3 divided by 22 over 9. So we've done that change to improper fractions step. Now we can do our keep, change, flip. So 14/3, division turns into multiplication, and flip the second fraction, 9 over 22. So we've done keep, change, flip. Now we're going to look to see if we can cross cancel. So here, 9 and 3 can both be divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. And I'm going to look at my other set of diagonals, 14 and 22. They are both even, so I know that they can be divided by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 22 divided by 2 is 11. Now that we've gotten our cross canceling done, we want to multiply straight across, so numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 7 times 3 gives us 21, and 1 times 11 gives us 11. So here, this is the case where we are ending up with an improper fraction. So we need to turn this into a mixed number. So 11 can go into 21 one full time, and we've got 10 left over, and our denominator stays the same. So here, 1 and 10/11 is our final answer. Our last example problem here, kind of an addition, says to divide the following mixed numbers. We've got 3 1/5 divided by 4 2/3. So what we are going to start off with is turning these into improper fractions first. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. We've got 16 over 5 divided by 4. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14 over 3. So we've turned these both into mixed numbers, or excuse me, we turned these mixed numbers into improper fractions. Now we need to do our keep, change, flip. So we keep 16/5 the same, change the division to multiplication, and flip our second fraction, so 3 over 14. We're going to look to see if we can do any cross canceling. Here we can with 16 and 14. We can divide them both by 2. So 16 divided by 2 gives me 8. 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. And now we can multiply straight across. So 8 times 3 gives us 24. And 5 times 7 gives us 35. 24 and 35 don't have any common factors, so that is actually our final answer, 24/35. So make sure you've written down all of your notes. You have all the example problems done either on your note sheet or in your notebook or both. And feel free to rewatch any section you may need just to review the rules that we've learned in these videos.